Kushav and Shpia that came from the Holy Land, Eretz Yisrael. The Pinchos David Bankish Bimahanas with some words, the Kavod Hilula.
Shalom Aleichem to everybody. Shus, Chaim, Choshev Avonim. We sit a lot and we hear Breslov drushes about Rav Nosson was such a big tzaddik. And the Breslovs sit and Shokomet, okay, yeah, he was the biggest tzaddik in the world. Why? Because he had betochen, because he davened, because he... But a lot of Elchiden that sit on the side, and they say, one minute. The Brisker Rav, the Shkat kan betochen, the Chazonish, the Stipler, like, what are you talking about? They didn't talk to the Eibush the whole day? They didn't live with the Eibush the whole day? Like, where are you coming from, Bechal? What's wisst from me? Like, so that's the Zach that Reb Nosson, that he had a Munas Chachomim, so 1 minute. And the Magid didn't have a Munas Chachomim, and the Baal Shem Tov, and all the Talmidim from, go talk to any Talmud of the Satmarov's Chonruch. He doesn't have a Munas Chachomim. I mean, he didn't have Beatles. So Reb Nosson had, and for this, we have this, we're going out here, Breslov, being soivel for years and years, redifus and everything, because we're the only ones who know that Reb Nosson was the Erlich Yid. He was like the shleimus, what the Eibishter wants from a person, and nobody could get there without the Rebbe. Why? Because the Rebbe said so. And why else? Because Reb Nosson also said so. That's it. There's no, and what do you mean? Like Breslov and Hasidim, we see like such big tzaddikim. Oh, come on, you didn't see Reb Shmuel Shapira. Today, could you like show me? I want to see this whole life on your talk. All these sounds, no. You have to have emunah. What do you mean? I'm not here to show you. Where's the emunah's chachamim? And this whole joke is just going on, and we're like, just like all the other fanatics, going around and selling our story, and everybody has to believe. And we're like a whole time, the Geula can't come because nobody's accepting this. And this is like, come on, you didn't read? You saw Be'esha B'mayim, you read all these things. And people say, okay, so there's Be'esha B'mayim, there's other stories on other tzaddikim also. We're not coming to take anything away. But this whole thing is one big joke, guys. The whole point of Reb Nosson wasn't. We're just taking it in a fanatic way, selling it as if we're the only ones who know the truth and feel, and everybody else is just looking for money and for covet, and the whole Klal Yisrael is just one big mistake, and we know the emes. Who was Reb Nosson? I didn't grow up in a Breslov house. And I was so fed up by all of this that I actually left Breslov for a while. I was bekusha to the Rebbe, I went to Uman, but I didn't want to hear of it. Just didn't add up, it didn't make sense. Everybody's just busy saying, he's not a Breslover, he's not a Breslov. No, only my shul is Breslov. Oh, okay, so the whole world is nothing. Just this shul. Okay, now, in this shul, how many tzaddikim are there? Oh, come on. No. It's just me, by the way, like a few more. And me, I know my mativ. So now I'm supposed to be mechazik when I know that the whole Klal Yisrael is in tremendous problems. All the Torah Shalom Lishma, nobody has a Munas Chachamim, nobody has Tikkun Abris, nobody's anything. I'm the only one who's bekusha a little bit with the Rebbe, and I have all my problems, and I'm supposed to be besimcha. So that we really have problems. How do you get besimcha? Like, why were all Breslov Chassidim so besimcha, and all of a sudden we have to have chizuk and drushes, and we have to come and... Let's go a bit weiter. I mentioned this a few times. There's a bewusste moshel of the Baal Shem Tov that he said, people know it, but listen till then. That the Baal Shem Tov said there was once a melech. He came and he made a heichel. He made a new heichel hamelech. Around the heichel hamelech, he put choimes. In every choime there were chayis, rois, and chayis mesukonos. So everybody knows the story. Now, but the Baal Shem Tov goes on. He says, so what happened? So the enemies of the Koenig came, they couldn't come to the king, they turned around. Baal Shem Tov says, later came his friends. His friends came, and they wanted to come to the Melech. And they start killing all the lions, all the bears, everything, till they killed out all the chais. Okay, what? So now what? So we could break the next wall and walk into... No, they break the next wall, and all of a sudden, all the chayas again, the gam samaisa. So the Baal Shem Tov said, by the third wall, the Sorim decided, we're never going to make it, because the way this works is by 90, we're still going to be fighting here, there. Oh, so now it's B'tochen, now it's Shalom Bayis, now it's Chinuch Hilula, now it's Shmir Sabris, now this and that's going to be running around the whole time. And where am I exactly going? Am I moving anywhere? Am I getting anywhere? So they decided, okay, I don't know, the Melech is cuckoo, that's what he did, we can't get to him. So they made a big stage, they're sitting on the stage, and they're looking at Heichel HaMelech, that's it. And they're looking at Heichel HaMelech saying, there was once a Heichel HaMelech, it's still a Heichel HaMelech, it's back, you can't get there. Baal Shem Tov goes weiter, and this is still not the story. He says, the Ben Melech came there one day, and he walks in, and he starts to tap, and he's like, guys, what's going on here? He's not, he doesn't have a lot of time, he's a bit hyperactive, and this, and Akim Taran, what's the zach? So they tell him, what do you mean? Look what your father did. Look, come onto the stage, you'll see. More chayes, more chayes, more chayes. There's no way in. That's it. We could see from here. It's genug, and they have tainug, and they're... The Ben Melech came, and he's like, no, this doesn't make sense. He got up on the stage. Everybody knows, still not the mice. And he started screaming. He said, Tate! Like, what? And he screamed again, and again, and again. All of a sudden, he sees the vilon moving a little, and his father looks out. He pushes a button, and Auersberg comes down a bridge, and he walks right into Heichel HaMelech. Here the Toldus brings a Mord Gezach, B'Shem the Baal Shem Tov. He says, the Ben Melech asked his father, what did you do? Why did you do this? The commander brings it also. He says, I don't want my enemies to come. So, the Ben Melech said, your enemies? Your friends, your whole folk, you're sitting there like on the stage, nobody's moving. They think, only my friends will come to me. He says, what do you mean? They're not your friends? They don't like you? They're putting away their whole life just to sit there and they're not moving for a second because they can see the Heichel HaMelech. They can't get there. What do you want? He says, they're not my friends. I want to make them my friends. He says, if they're my friends, how are they mechoshid that I did such a thing? They think that I'm crazy? They think I'm a Russia? What are they thinking? Did they think I made a Yiddishkeit that doesn't work in 2022, 2023, 24, that's it? Now there's too many nisyonis, it can't work anymore. Hashem is out of control, he can't. So we just have to be mechazik with Reb Nosson and all that blah blah, that's what it means? No, that's not what Reb Nosson taught me. Maybe check again. Reb Nosson teaches this story. This is what Reb Nosson is teaching. Reb Nosson tells us, if I come to you and I tell you, I'm your best friend, I want to give you $1 billion, but I have one tonight. You have to walk from Muncie till Williamsburg, okay? You get to Williamsburg, $1 billion. So I'm like, okay, not bad. No, I forgot to tell you something. When you walk, you're going to be walking on glasses. Every glass you break, you're going to fall down and you're going to hurt yourself. Not only that, I forgot to tell you something else. That every glass is so fragile, that you just go like this and it cracks. Now, go walk to Williamsburg, so you're like, okay, yeah, here, okay, maybe I'll think about it, it's not. Now, does that person who offered you the $1 billion, does he love you or hate you? Simple question. Now, lots of people that I spoke to myself, not things that I'm building on, think more or less that's how Hashem loves us. He put us in a situation, there's no way to move. Whatever you're going to do, everybody thinks it's just me. I have a little bit with Katz, I have with Taivas. No, and everybody, you're supposed to also give that Haredish look. Like, come on, it's not me, so we're all okay. Like Eliyahu Hanavi said, Ad Mosai atem poischim al shtei asifrim. He said, stop to play this game. You believe or you don't believe. You're aufgeklärt. What does it mean, aufgeklärt? That what? That you have times that you don't believe? You have times you just tell Hashem, now I'm going away for a few minutes. I'm getting back to when I come to shul, but what does that mean? So Reb Nosson comes and says one thing. He says, Hashem pushed you to the corner because he wants you to scream tate. He wants you to start to have a relationship with him. Not to be busy becoming a tzaddik, and not to be busy becoming not a Rasha. Stop with that already. We all know exactly who we are. That's not the noised. That's what I'm going to be busy till the end of my life. If it's going or it's not going, or if I want relationship with Hashem. That's what Reb Nosson came to teach. What does he mean? Read when he says to be with Hashem in the Yerida. What is he talking about? He says when you start to do Averu, what's the first thing you do? You make believe Hashem is not here now? Like you're not davening now to him. You're not going to think. He says, why? He's here. He didn't walk anywhere. Did you see him go? Could he go? He's there when you sin and he's there when you do a mitzvah. He says, stop already. Start to relate with him. Start to really talk to him, not to do a Breslov segula of an hour is just like we don't have enough mitzvahs, so we have another zach you have to do, just like go to Uman, like we have. So now we're like really super helig because we did so much Mesiras Nefesh. Come on, guys. This is how big the Eibush is, like the Rebbe said. Like the Rebbe's that see, the Rebbe had a very long pipe. He said that's about how big they see Hashem. Like all these small cheshbonis, like, you did like that, so now boom, or you meant that. You meant yourself a little bit. I saw that. You didn't mean me 100%, so now I'm not mekabel tefillah. That's it. You have to come back again. And by the time, because he's very emistic, and he says his rachman, his ein soifi. He hears every tefillah, but when you talk to him normal, now when you talk to him nonsense, if I come and I start to talk to somebody, blah, 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 what are you talking about? You want to be a Shoy Babris like a Shmuel Shapira yet? You know what that means? You know what that quick? And why? For what? Do I want it from you? Like, what are you talking about? What are you trying? Where are you trying to get to, Bichlal? You know how much there is in yourself? You know how much you have in your heart, in your mind? You know what a Yid means? Reb Nosson comes and says that the smallest neshama in the world could turn over the whole world. That's the koyach of a Yid. He could be master the whole world b'tshuva, he says. That's what a Yid is. And what does the Baldover do with us? Just sitting and blending our mind every day back and forth. So the Rebbe is the biggest tzaddik, not the biggest. What does it mean? The Rebbe said this sikha, that sikha, this sikha means like this. instead of doing exactly what Reb Nosson wanted. Reb Nosson, I saw Breslov and Chassidim. They were full of life. You should see them, because they were with Hashem every second of their life. They lived godliness, because the minute you start to talk to him for real, when you're not playing with him, when you're not davening about dimyonis, I'm davening for $1 million because Rabbi Islam, I'm going to give out stuff for everybody. And 1 minute, did you daven to me that the food should taste good? Did you think about that? Or that's you? Like, I'm not here in this world. Where am I? I'm just in the millions I am, and I'm not in the, like, what is, and Reb Nosson comes and says that's all it is. Just push it. He says, try it out. Start to talk to the Eibishter. He says, Kimedaber ish el re'ehu. What does it mean? The Rebbe says that when we're zoiche, you have his boidadus like talking to a real good friend. He says, what's a real good friend? He says, when sometimes a person has, I don't know, whatever, I had a biggest theory that could be. Cheated, okay? I have to talk to somebody about it. Who do I talk to? I look for a real good friend. First of all, somebody who's not going to be judgmental, somebody who I could trust, somebody who will understand me. The Rebbe says when we're zoiche, that's the hisboidedus. The Rebbe says hisboidedus is you talk to the Eibishter. If I could tell him what I'm really going through, but not my yisurim, in my nefesh, all my feelings, and weiter, not out to school because I want to connect with him, because I know it's all just him. And this is something, there were a lot of tzaddikim who are on this dargah, but to bring this dargah down, to push it to Yidden, to teach in this generation these zaken, this is what Reb Nosson was all about. He saw exactly, but exactly to the point, anybody who went through Meshivas Nefesh, he saw every single place where we get stuck, every single one of them. If it's because I even if I did tshuva, but what happened with that time of the Aveirah, if I'm still, what happens, my mitzvahs are not on every zach that we're fanum in a whole day, how a person starts to think, woman, okay, so my tachlis is to be a Oved Hashem. My tachlis is to learn a whole day. My tachlis is to daven all day. My tachlis is to do mitzvahs all day. Now I can't because I'm busy. I can't because people tell me sometimes they feel their moyach is about the size of a sesame seed when he comes home. He says, like, who's learning here, Bechal? I'm like, and everybody with all the daigas and all our information and everything we're busy with, that the moyach is already under, kimat, there's nothing left of it. And then I tell for this little shtickle, like, start to serve Hashem with, I'm going to get there in 50 years, 70, I will get there, I just have to get some things done. And if Nosson comes and says, you're crazy. What are you doing? There's nothing. Just talk to him. You open the siddur, you try to say a word, not kavana, to talk to him. That's all, to talk, to feel connected, like when you're really talking to somebody, to get that vibe of, I'm giving myself out. How would I talk? You know what, let's do it first. How would I talk if I would talk to a creator, a real creator, okay, not Hashem now, right? Because Hashem is already something that went into our, the real creator comes down to this world. He says, I created this whole world, everything that's here, everything you see, all the chachmas, the teva also, don't forget, right? It's all in the chachma of the bria, right? That the Eibishter created, okay? All the stars, everything. That creator comes down and wants to have with you a conversation. Now, how would that be? Would that be just like, or how would you talk if you're talking out to your father and it's something you really want to give out? Like, wouldn't there be a little bit of expression? A little bit of, I told you guys, I was once we were once by his birthday somewhere, and a guy lost his briefcase. And I remember it looked like it was very important because he was very Zebrachim. I don't know what was in there, but and we were talking about his birthday. So one of the guys says, talk to Hashem. So he says, what do you mean? He says, he's your father. He took the suitcase, right? So who are you going to talk to? Just to what? So why he made his birthday. Now I know the guy. I saw him talking to his father a few times. I said, you didn't talk to your father now. Oh, really, to my father? So he's like, but like, I'll say it in English, he's like, Amale, like, Ma yesh lecha b'mizvada sheli. What do you want with my briefcase? Just tell me. What? Why? For what? For when? Where? And like a minute later, somebody came around. Here's the briefcase. Now, do we always see it? Depends where a person is in tefillah and this, but the idea of talking, of really expressing. I just want to be Messiah. One of the hardest manias to avoid that people have today is that we don't have time. And when we have time, so Reb Nosson goes through all the pride, you start talking, and in the middle you get sidetracked, you go into machshava, you start, the second you touch something negative, a person starts to think back and weiter, and sometimes you just don't have the courage to open your mouth. Everything we know, okay, so the Rebbe said hours, but even not to talk. One of the biggest aids is that a person should get his voidedus. The Rebbe says it in Torah Hey. This is how I heard from Shlomo Aaron that Anashua Masba like this. He says, sometimes, I'm not talking, there could be that people here who are making shows voids every day, and fine, avoid. Also, you have to know, if it's a skula, it goes into the world of skulas. That's a very beautiful world, but it's not. How did the Rebbe used to say, Rebbe friend? He said a kid comes home from cheder, and he wants to talk to his father. He says, we had today in school, we had murder, and his father is holding him off talking to the neighbor, and he says, Yankel, in the freezer there's a whole box of ice cream, you could take as much as you want, and this, and the boy goes up, okay, he's happy, but he said that was the father now Mekarev his son, or he was Merachik his son. His son wanted to talk to him. He wanted to have a few minutes with him. He sent him to the ice cream. So he says a lot of times, Hashem comes to a person, he gives him a bisla, hello, and the guy goes, oh, wow, 100%, I'm doing this school or that school or this and that and he said, I didn't ask for ice cream. I didn't ask for it. I asked to talk to you, that's all. I just, how the Nosson says in Torah Beis, the Rebbe says in Torah Beis, Kishoylech Lodom Shloike Seder, Yash Balatzmoy, you should just know, the Eibush is telling you, hello, I'm fearing the world, not you, that's all, back. Or when the Eibush comes, sometimes it shows a person a day that's a little bit, and a person, what do you want from it? But the Chavarov says it, he says, the Eibush tells just, hello, I just wanted to show you it could be like that every day. And it's not, right? Okay, that's all. Just to remember that it's you or it's me. Who's everything is just so pashut. Why? Because everything by you is so pashut. That's all. Why? How did that happen? How did that? You ever stop for a minute to connect? But when I start to connect in a real natural way, that's what the Rebbe talks about. Screaming. It's not screaming for the schooler, talking to him. How would you talk to a creator? Think about it for a minute, for real. What would you say? Would you just tell him thank you? Would you say hello? We're in that last generation, you remember, that you created, those neshamas that were asked, right? The Ramami Pano, I think, he says every neshama, they ask him if he wants to go down in the last generation. And he says, the neshama asks, like, what is it all about? So say it's a lot of Yisurim, it's not, what type of Yisurim? Mainly Ruchni. Gashmi, he says, Gashmi is going to be ganz fine. So he says, all the neshamas that were okay with that, Hello? So we have to know also, okay, so that's what we're here for. So let's do it right. Like, this is not about trying to fool ourselves. This is not about trying to fool other people. And I'm trying to enforce some type of system into my mind that's just supposed to work because that's how it works. This is something real. This is something that works when it's made the way it should. The hava that you saw between Breslov and Chassidim. Amal, when there were like two people that knew the secret, that had this romance with Vayigash for 24 hours. Because the minute you talk to him for real, he's for real. He's for real. And everybody knows that. Anybody who ever made one real isboidus, but the thing is that we always say, oh, because so make another real isboidus. Don't just rely, come, prepare yourself, and give it out. And if a person wants to explain to Hashem, tell him whatever you want. What do you feel about this door? What do you feel about everything? But the first thing that we should start to connect to him for real. And this was my message that I got from Rebbe Nosson. I think everybody who reads Rebbe Nosson's Ksubim for real sees this. This is what he was about. It wasn't because he had a very big heart and he could scream. He was for real. There was no, like he said, they bought him a shtreimel when he became Rebbe, right? After the Rebbe was, he said, I feel nechoshim and akrabim on my head. I can't wear it. And he later got ganved, right? Okay, everybody was a shtreimel today. Like, there was no covet here, no nothing. There's one zach. We want to bring Hashem into as many hearts as we can. I want every Yid in the world to know that Hashem exists and that you could get Him so easily. You don't have to be a big Talmud Chacham. The Rebbe says you don't even have to know to learn Bechlal to be a tzaddik. You don't have to have, the Rebbe said, I have 3 kfutzes of Talmidim. I have Talmidim that come to hear Torah. They know all my Torahs. I have Talmidim that come to take Shirayim. And Ash used to say, that's the Talmidim who come to take the eitzes, the schoolers, the zachen, like Shirayim is a schooler. But there are some who are arange back in their hearts. They know that I'm tikkun olam. They know that I came here to wake up the world, to get every Yid back to Hashem. The Rebbe is the only one who could do this. This emeset derech, the whole derech, but Vim esak shamayim shamato, to know even when you're up there, go weiter, you're learning good. So what does that mean? So now you're happy, so that's all? Like, what's going on with you? You're here to serve Hashem, and He's here, you could reach Him. So try to learn Torah Lishma, maybe one day you'll see Him. What you think? Everything, that was only when? Gilu Eliyahu or Hasagis or everything. When was it? Only, I forgot, when Hashem was manning this world, like today Hashem is not here, that's it, it's over. No more madrigas, no more anything, that's it. Why? For what? Because we gave up. Fakir, today is the easiest. The Arizal says that today with miyat maisim, a person could be dargis or bakiva. And the Chidah says that's what the Arizal said 400 years ago. But all you need is to mean it really, all the way. No, not all the way with the whole kavanah. Natural, normal, not when a person comes, everybody knows the story was the guy who went to order a rekel, right? And the guy tells him, okay, so you have to, and he takes all the measures, and then he comes afterwards and he sees the rekel is all, it's managed cut like this and down. And he tells him, he says, okay, because you decided to go straight. If you want to go like this, then it works. So we have a whole, it could work, maybe it's supposed to work, it's this, but when a person thinks to himself, Rabbi Shalom, this can't be. Hashem is not a hypocrite. He's the biggest chacham in the world. He prepared this whole thing for us. What did He want? The Heilige, this is how the Emes be Messiah, the Heilige Abderov once met Rabbi Pinchos Koretze. And Rabbi Pinchos Koretze, I think, asked him, say a chizuk for the Dora Achra and something like that. So he said, why did the Eibishter create the whole world? said all because the Eibishter wanted to be Megala Malchusa, right? That the Malchus of Hashem is going to become bigger than it was. He was Ein Soif, it's going to become bigger. Why? Gadol Hashem Amuhulo Ma'oid. Why? Because it's going to be an Adam who he is mamish just like this piece of chicken, just like everything here, and he's going to have, with his Bechira, he's going to become close to Hashem. Like the Rambam says, the Tachlis Brias Adam was Nevuah. The Eibishter wants to talk to us. He wants to have conversation with somebody. That's all it is. That's what it is. He wants relationship. He's Ein Soif, but he's missing that part. And he created us for that, and he gave Klal Yisrael all the koiches in the world to get here. That's all. It's very simple. We have a mouth. Everybody knows that. A Yid has an extra pet. Every goy knows that. We have Seichel. Everybody knows that. We have Torah and mitzvahs. So all we need now is just a little bit of shmimis. That's all. Just to sit down and start to talk till the relationship starts. Now, he said the Eibishter created the whole world just for Bechira. So he says, let's think, in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, was there really Bechira? He says that anybody who knew that any Avera he does, he gets Skila, and he says Bezdin. He says, came a Oiber Chacham Yingel, yeah, that's when we look at them, like he comes and says, Rebbe, Favus tumen ish bechal za Shabbos. So the Rebbe said, Favus, weil man warf da rupf in the zweite Building, in später zu steinet men, in alle, the ganze Volk steigt in kiekt. Okay, good enough. And he says, the selbe Sach, bei des Mann von Rishonim. A fille einer, was sie gewähnt even somebody who was a little bit overchachim, he couldn't, either out, he says there were charamas, there were neduyim, there was makis, there was, I was in, everybody, just a few hundred years ago in Prague, you go, right, the Altenai Shul, it's the Shul of the Maral. Outside, there's two, right, there's one place they used to put in the tzedakah, the other place, what is it? The prison. Anybody who was over, was the Ruvat gesucht, he wasn't Mekayim a psak din. I don't know, they put you into that box. I don't know. And there's places there where you could spit in. I was like, that's at least what the tour guide said, that there was a mitzvah to spit. And now, he says, so did they have Bechira or not? Like, you couldn't go out of the ghetto if you're looking like a Yid. So the only way to go out of the ghetto was to look like a goy, right? So how much Bechira do I really have? He says, today we have 100% Bechira, every single one of us. And we're Boicher in the Eibishter. So he says, we're today Him Mamlech. We did it. We finished the job. We're the ones who are doing it. And that's why it's so complicated. And that's where Reb Nosson came and doesn't stop to scream again and again. He says, guys, number one, start screaming to him. Because he hears and he knows it doesn't make sense. That's not what he wants. He wants to bring you in. But you gotta scream to him. Number two, you have to always be with him. Every aliyah, you feel good, start looking for him. A lot of times he's there. Or, you want to know where else you could find him sometimes? When you're down, all the way at Tzio Shoel, right? How Anash used to say, the Rebbe says, in Esak Shemaim, if I go up, Shamata. I see you from far. He says, at Tzio Shoel, what does that Tzio mean? A person comes, at Tzio Samita, he made his bed already. In Shoel Tachtis. He brought down his bed, he said, that's it, okay. And he's here, his pillow, the fan, air conditioner, whatever. He says, Hineko. It doesn't say there's Shamata. He says it's like, you just finished putting on, just going to turn off the light, and the Eibishter walks in like, hello. And he says, yeah. And also says, but you're not going to see it if you weren't there before with him. Sometimes, no, that's not true. You could see it also if you forgot about him before. But I need to be looking for him. I need to be with him in every matzav of my life, and I'm always b'simcha atzuva. Why am I b'simcha? Because there's no reason not to be b'simcha. What are we talking about? I'm a Yalid Isha in this world who knows about the Eibush. That's all. Rabbi Nosson says, just with Amunah alone, a person is, you know what that means? You know what we're talking about? And how many mitzvahs do we chaper every day, every second that a person is shomer anayim, every second that a person is not hearing the Lashon Hara, every second that a person is learning, this is thousands of mitzvahs, but the Yetzer Hara has already terutzim for all of this. We don't even hear it. We hear it and it goes back out. But when a person goes to the point, I could have a relationship with godliness. I could have a relationship with the cause of this whole zach. Everything that happened here. The one who started this wants to relate to me, and just like he created all the gashmis, he created all the ruchnis. The whole chilik of Yiddishkeit and all the other umas is that we know he's here just as much as he's there. We could connect with him by a suda, we could, like the Kuzari says, we could connect with him by dancing, we could connect him in the middle of a conversation. And this, I forgot that I started to talk about this, that sometimes a person doesn't have the burim. I said there's an eighth of the Rebbe in Torah Hey. So I just want to get back to it. The Rebbe says there that when this kitrugim, like the results, the Baal Shem Tov says that when a person's davening, and in the middle he feels like, okay, nish gedaven. He says, what's that? He says, that's the kitrug. This kitrugim on a person, because of gamabris, because of other zachen, the kitrugim who don't let the tefillah go up. So the Rebbe says, what do? You put the tefillah into a mimer, which means, I said, Reb Shlomo Aaron told, I was makabel that he said that I start to have a conversation with somebody, and I'm like, how much do we have to daven today? Like you just go like a little Rebbeinu, like in the middle of the shmooze, or you're in the middle of a phone call. It's a lot easier because the person doesn't see how you do this, and you go Rebbeinu, just help us already for this golus. And dear, because you didn't make the l'shegicha to shtalavek daven and this and that, so all of a sudden the Yetzer Hara like lets the heart open up, like you get that real. You know, and because it's in the middle of a shmooze, or you're in the middle of talking to your kids, like these to find the places, to know that Golus is Golus HaDibur. The Rizal says in Parashat Shmois, by the end of the Golus, the Dibur goes into Golus. People, because we're talking too much, there's too much Diburim, B'Teilim, and this and that, so the Dibur HaKedusha becomes Shvach. And that's the way, when a person gamvis arois tefillas, a lot of times, all of a sudden, his heart will just open up. And the same zach, the Rebbe says, when you talk dibur emes. When I'm talking honest, I'm really emestic. Like I once said a story that there was a guy, he went to the feld, the Breslov came to the yeshiva, and they were all this, and there was a bacher there as a fruma and this and that, so he came to the shir, but he didn't get no Breslov, and okay, we're going to his Vayigash, and he's already in the car, and he says he came there, he didn't know what you do here and this and that. And he says that he was standing there, and all of a sudden he sees on the bottom there's a road going past. So he's like, Rebbeinu Shalom, send a car now that should just take me out of this place. Now! And he's like, he says, all of a sudden, after the third, fourth time he gave that scream now, he said his heart started to open up, and he just, without knowing what his Vayigash is, anything, just started talking to Hashem about his whole matziv, and that's what the Rebbe is talking about. When you have a dibur emes, he was talking emes. He was in the forest. He was scared, and he really saw a street, and he thought a car could stop, and he wanted to stop the car to come now. That's it. There was no two ways about it, and that's when the tefillahs help. Like the tefillah of the Oivred Geshamim, like Chazal say, right? That the Kohen Gadol has decided in Kodesh HaKadoshim. Why? Because he's in the middle of walking down the street, and he has to get, he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have anything, he has another 3 blocks to go, and he has he already figured out how to hold all the bags from the supermarket and this, and he's walking, and it starts to rain, and he's like, Rebbeinu Shalom, just that now, please! And he says, that's a real tefillah, that's very simple. It was just straight to the point. There was no around and around, no but. Like the Ola Shemaim says, how many times do we scream, I want to be a big tzaddik? And he says, it says v'hegion libi. In the same time, there's also a hegion libi that goes, but I don't really want to be a tzaddik. I mean, maybe someday. And So he says like, come on. So he says both tefillas come up. So the Eibishter says, what do we do? So the Eibishter says, teku, it's 50-50. We won't do anything, we'll leave it the way it is. He says, so how many times we're davening for Madregis, but we're not really there? He says, if you were just davening for your posh tezechem, help me change a little. Help me, not get caught. Help me be happy, even though I have you read this. Like when a person starts from his pasha to matziv and not focusing on his aliyahs, then he has a chance, Be'ezer Hashem, to move on. The Eibishter zal helfen, Schusa Yogan Alein of Kol Yisrael, she be zeicher ready to Nechamas Tzion, and to see Mashiach Tzidkenu b'meher b'yamin
Wow.